Hey guys, I have a really fun opportunity for you right now because here I have the latest and complete lineup of Lincoln SUVs and crossovers. Right here, this is the newly redesigned, Lincoln calls it all new 2025 Navigator. I have an Aviator, I have a Nautilus, and I have a Corsair. So in this video, I kind of wanted to show you the lineup. This doesn't happen every day. This is actually the launch event and debut of the new Navigator. So I want to show you the others kind of quickly and then focus a little bit more on this guy. But really the question is, which Lincoln SUV is best for you? And of course they do different jobs, different use cases. So let's start right here. This is the Corsair. So think of the Corsair as kind of a very luxurious, kind of dressed up Ford Escape, because they share a lot of components underneath. But of course the exterior and the interior are quite different between the Lincoln and the Ford. But that's kind of where it starts, and this is the smallest guy of the lineup. And as we move up, of course, the performance, luxury, and capability kind of increase. So this starts at around $39,000 or $40,000, and it's available also as a plug-in hybrid. So think about efficiency and around 240-ish horsepower for the beginning of this compact crossover SUV. But as we're going through this, take a look at the interior and kind of remember some of the design touches, including like the seat design with kind of two cushions, one for each leg, and kind of the dashboard and some of the keys and buttons. And what I really love about what they've done here at Lincoln, and they've now redesigned the entire lineup, including the latest Navigator, is that there's a lot of familiar touches and design elements across all these guys. And if I can just sit here in the back, you know what? It's pretty comfortable. I'm almost 6'3". Just under that, I have a panoramic sunroof here. My knees are okay, decent. For a compact crossover, this is just fine. And of course, whoever's sitting in front of me also has some space. And if I open the hatch, there's a button here on the passenger side right there. And of course, there's multiple ways of opening things. You can push a button on the dash. You can use your key fob, maybe your phone app. Decent amount of space. So there's nothing really wrong with the Corsair. It's been a little bit longer on the market, so this is not the newest of the lineup. But starting about 40 and going up from there, you can get different options. You can see dual exhaust pipes here in the back. But this guy is not really meant for really pulling trailers. It could be configured to tow with 2,000 or 3,000 pounds, depending on setup. But you can see how low it is. It's really not meant for that. It's meant for efficiency, and it's meant to take 4 or 5 people on a journey. Now we're stepping up a little bit. This is the new Nautilus. It actually came out about a year ago. It's a new model in the lineup. So it's a little bit larger than the Corsair, but has a similar powertrain. And you can kind of see the latest design language. And then if you look at this one and then you look at the new Navigator, you can see how similar kind of some of the design cues are. Of course, the Navigator is supersized. This guy is still 2-row, a little bit larger. You can kind of see almost side by side, Cole. If you show from over there, you can kind of see that the Nautilus is a bit longer and larger. And of course the price goes up a little bit. And the powertrain is very similar. It's a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and the horsepower numbers are around 250, 260, maybe 275. Here we go. Let me open this door. By the way, kind of a neat design on the door handles. I think it's a nice touch. It's very unique. You don't see it on many other vehicles, so I kind of appreciate that. But now you see the interior design and the latest coast-to-coast or side-to-side infotainment screen, 48 inches of screen right there. So that was kind of big news about a year ago. But then once again, if you look at the, let me get in by the driver's seat. The engines on all these are off, but they have inverters kind of feeding some electricity to them. But if you notice here, kind of the way you interface with the transmission, reverse, neutral drive, lower gears, and then your volume control button is kind of this glass crystal design, and then some of the other switches and handles. Start stop button here, and the steering wheel is now different. Corsair is slightly older design. Here in the Nautilus, it's a little bit more of a squircle, so it's a little bit more square and smaller, and that's also to help you see the screen, because I'm not looking through the steering wheel, I'm looking above it, keeping my eyes higher up. I kind of like that. And then I have the latest digital experience. I have a control screen right here in front of me, and I can actually select some tiles. My navigation is always here. Let me clear this screen. And then there's some vital information here, my fuel, my range, my driver assistance tech, my speedometer, things like that. So I'll show you more about this in the Navigator, because now the Navigator has very similar, and actually a next step of that system. But look at the seats, like I was saying, very similar design, family resemblance, very comfortable. This is kind of a very grippy material, so I feel like I'm kind of cuddled in it, and it's very supportive. Let me get in the middle seat and check it out. So getting back into here, a little bit more space. It's really evident as soon as you get in. Also panoramic sunroof. This one starts at around 50 to a little bit higher than that, than 50,000 bucks. And of course, prices will vary depending on trim level. But once again, you're stepping up, from that just under $40,000 Corsair into this vehicle that's a little bit larger, still only 2-row. I'll show you the trunk really fast. And you don't have to change. The button is still on the passenger side. I like that. And once again, quite a very large space right in here with a little donut. And of course, yeah, that's pretty nice. This is also not quite meant for towing trailers. So if you wanted to tow trailers, Nautilus is probably not for you. I think the maximum rating on the Nautilus is around 2,000 pounds. But you can kind of see the style is kind of the latest and greatest for Lincoln. And the wheel design is a little bit different. And also like these name badges on the front doors, including the name of the vehicle. And they all have it. And I think it's a nice touch. And once again, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Now the Aviator. I actually remember when this version of it came out. This was several years ago. I was in Michigan for that event, and I thought it was just pretty neat. I really kind of liked its design. It's kind of sleek, it's long. It's basically using a Ford Explorer chassis. The Explorer has been one of the best-selling 3-row SUVs of all time. Has a lot of history. The Aviator kind of builds on top of it with its own styling, but also a lot of similar elements. But you also have a V6 now under the hood, no more 4-cylinder engines, and 400 horsepower. So once again, we're taking a kind of a big jump forward as far as horsepower is concerned, and it's now a 3-row. Let's take a look inside. Sorry if the sun was a little bit harsh, but we're getting kind of a nice look at this. Sweet. So you can kind of see slightly, it's a little bit more resembles the Corsair, but a lot of family resemblance in a lot of the features and design elements, like the seat, like the dashboard, the way the screens are positioned. It's a little bit more traditional to what you may have seen before in previous years, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, the Aviator has been around, it's been refreshed. And here you can see the rear, and this has the center console in the back, so really the second row passengers have a lot of comfort, very similar to front. Let me push the front seat just a little bit forward because I think it's all the way back. And then let me kind of try to sit in here. It's a little bit more upright. So actually, from the outside, this thing looks sleek, but from the inside, I feel like I'm sitting a little bit higher, which is pretty cool. Once again, panoramic sunroof is available. Lots of speakers. I can see some speaker little covers here in the ceiling. So, and then since this is a bigger vehicle, let me see if I can get into the third row even. You can push this forward. Cole, do you want to show just the third row? Let me pop the trunk, the hatch. So if you're familiar with the Explorer, this is kind of very, very similar as far as space, dimensions, and room. Also cup holders, little tie downs. But then you can do this. You can step around here and you could fold the third row. And it works relatively quickly. Maybe not the quickest operation, but you can also raise them pretty quickly, which is really cool. Let me try this. There, it comes out actually almost a little bit quicker than down. And you have really great second tier storage here as well. And this one will tow up to about 5,000 pounds. It has a lot of power, 400 horsepower under the hood, so it's relatively quick. And you can see the hitch panel is already built in. So you don't have to make other modifications at the dealership or elsewhere to set it up. So pretty sweet. But now the star of the show. This is the world debut of they call it all new. I would call it heavily redesigned, refreshed, because not everything is super changed. The exterior design has changed. I really love this floating roof design where the center section is all blacked out. It's very similar to the Aviator, and you have a built-in roof rail. So you can put a roof rack up there as well. This is actually a reserve, and actually this is one of the more simpler base models, believe it or not. Pricing, by the way, here you're in the $60,000 and $70,000 range. Here now you're crossing into six-figure territory. This starts at $99,995, and with destination charges, which is about $19.95, this is about $102,000. So, sorry, the guys are setting up here for dinner. So, but the front end is redesigned, all new, but you can kind of see once again resemblance. If you can step over here, Cole, the resemblance to the Nautilus right over there, and a tiny resemblance to the Aviator as well. But the hood is now taller. They changed that a little bit. The windshield is a little bit more raked compared to the previous Navigator. There's a large Navigator badge right there. And I think it was about time Navigator was redesigned. It's been a few years since the current one, the previous one was around. This is already on sale. It's already at dealerships, so you can go and check it out. But like I said, now we're in a truck frame, body on frame SUV territory, and the price is now six figures. But you get a lot with it. So twin turbocharged 3.5 liter, not a 3 liter, but 3.5 liter EcoBoost, high output engine. The power is the same as before, so 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. The frame is a little bit redesigned because the attachments, the suspension attachment points have changed. I'll explain it in a second. And also it's 10-speed automatic, just like it was before. But Lincoln engineers tell me that they had to tweak the programming of the engine and transmission quite heavily because they had to comply with a little bit more stricter emission standards. And in order to do that and keep the same horsepower and torque numbers and the same performance as before, a lot of work had to be done, but you don't see that work necessarily because it's kind of under the skin and the power is the same. The reason why they had to change the suspension is because they now have a 24-inch wheel. This is a 22, 275 50 R22. And this is the smallest wheel, believe it or not, you can get on a Navigator. If you stay tuned to oldtfl.com, we're going to show you a first drive of all the latest Navigators. You can kind of see them back there as well. And those are black labels, which is kind of the top of the line Navigator that starts at around $112-ish thousand and goes up to about 127 or 130 with options. And those have 24-inch wheels. And with the larger wheel and tire, you have to change the suspension. The tire is bigger, you still have to fit it under this vehicle. You still have to have the cut for the steering. So all those elements were updated. And along with it, they updated the towing numbers to 8,700 pounds on some of these base models. By the way, you cannot get a two-wheel drive only Navigator. That's kind of why that price is a little bit higher. Because if you compare this against like the Cadillac Escalade or the Infiniti QX80, or some of the other competitors, those start at like $85,000 range. So you might be wondering, why is this more expensive? Well, some of the other options, like the Escalade, can be had in two-wheel drive. This is all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive always. Also has low range. So I'll show you that in a second. Now, if you come around the back, by the way, it's still available as this kind of a standard wheelbase and also extended wheelbase called the L. But if you come around the back really quick, it has a new tailgate design, the hatch design. So this bottom part is a tailgate that flips down right here. There's a little table, which can also be a shelf inside the vehicle, and of course the hatch up here. And they're kind of set it up as a picnic. They told me not to eat the cheese because it's been out here for a day, so I'm not going to eat anything. But you can kind of see some of the space with this vehicle, with the third row. And by the way, this is just a standard wheelbase. So if this was the L, this would have more space. And that's what's great about American-made. This is built in Kentucky at the truck plant where the Super Duties are made. That's what's great about body-on-frame, truck-based, three-row SUVs, is that they have tons of space, tons of volume, but still pretty great design. Let's jump inside, and then I can show you a few more things. So this kind of looks like a Nautilus. So Cole, if you want to close that door. So first of all, the steering wheel is very similar. So let me control the steering wheel, because somebody was here who maybe was quite different in stature to me. So I'm using this keypad, multifunction keypad on the right of the steering wheel. And this is kind of a controversial feature because this is not traditional. Thank you, Cole. This is not traditional. It's kind of a new way of designing controls. It does a couple of things. It gives you a lot of controllability. Your cruise control and Blue Cruise features are right here on the left. And it also maybe streamlines some of the production for the manufacturer. So we first saw this similar control features on some Teslas, some Rivians, some other manufacturers, where you have a single button or a single control doing multiple functions. So that's why it's controversial, because a lot of people don't like that. People like specific buttons to do only one function instead of multiple things. But if you just kind of get used to it a little bit, like I can control my volume. Sorry for the pulsating screen, it's an LCD, so you can kind of see that on video. I can control my mirrors. I can fold them right there. unfold them. I can control my position of my pedals. So very similar to the Nautilus, but like I said, this is the next iteration of that, next design. So there is a rejuvenate function, which is kind of hard for me to show right now, so you'll have to wait for a different video. Of course, you can have apps. This is kind of Google built in. So I really wanted to watch TFL Truck. So let me see if this is connected. Let's see if this works. TFL, it's not doing it. The truck is not on right now. How about this? Hey Google, find TFL Truck YouTube channel.
Sorry, I can't play videos in the car.
Oh, maybe the engine has to be on. Anyways, the point is, you could play a video here. You could also make the video play in the upper 48-inch display. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so something is playing right now here. And then, let me see. Should be able to kind of bring it up. I'm not seeing that option right now. Maybe that's not available in this more base version. Sorry about that. But the whole point is, if you're waiting for somebody and you have nothing to do, you can actually play one of TFL Truck videos only. You can either put it here or here, depending on where you want it. So very neat features. Also, there's several other things you can do. Oh, let me see. Here you can control what's displayed up there. So we have 3 tiles: radio, weather, and then clock and calendar. And you can, let's see, get different faces of the clock. You could put different information up there. For example, my tire pressure monitoring system. I can put my fuel economy up here, or you can have nothing. Now there's this fuel economy up there. Or you could have, you can come down the map, you can get rid of the map, or you can kind of quiet everything down and black it out. So if you don't want anything in your peripheral vision over there, you can kind of turn it off, make it calm mode. You can also have different theme selections, and I really love the Inspire theme because it kind of has a landscape. I don't know if you can notice that now. It's hard to see there. Yeah. Anyways, so those are some of the latest features. Also, these vents are controlled digitally. That's another very controversial feature. Right here, well, you could have different options. You could move these around. These buttons are now a little bit larger, and then you can go kind of off face and on face for the driver and the passenger. I'm going to turn this off because the fan speed might actually cause some sound problems. You have piano keys for, once again, for transmission controls, and sometimes I'm not a huge fan of this. The reverse and drive have little kind of texture here, so you can kind of feel it without actually looking down, but you do have to get used to that. You have drive modes: normal, 4-wheel drive, auto, normal to high. So you have all-wheel drive modes, 4-wheel drive modes. Conserve mode will be mostly 2-wheel drive. Excite will put it in 4-wheel drive auto. Makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of torque and you want it all delivered in a great way. And then deep conditions and slow climb actually will put you in low range. So if you select that, it will tell you you have to be powered on and you have to go to neutral in order to change those modes. And also cameras, so you can kind of see different camera views. As soon as it's selected deep conditions or climb mode, it thinks that something is happening off-road, so it gave me a look at the cameras as well. So you have all this. Now, this also has the console option. You can get a bench. So Cole, let's really quickly get in the center, in the second row. So you can get a bench, which is 40, 20, 40. You can get a pass-through here. You don't have to get this console. But this console is an option. And then this here just depends on different trim levels you can get. And this is power operated, so I can recline. And there's a big space under here. I don't know if you could see that. There's a cutout. So your feet, if you can see my feet, they can actually have plenty of space underneath this front seat. So even when the front row is all the way back, and if you're still a large, tall person, you can still have a lot of space. You can relax, and you don't have to feel like the front passenger and driver get all the comfort, because you have a lot of comfort here as well, including this little control screen where you can control different features, including ventilation, massage, and heat and adjustment. You can push the front seat forward. So now I'm controlling that seat from the back. So it's really can be used in the chauffeur mode like this, where you have a ton of space. You have a mile of space right there. Can really stretch out and have this person be the CEO, the king of this vehicle. You have cup holders, console, just like in the front. You have a console in the rear if you get this center console option. And if you get the black label or several other models, you can also have a wireless phone charger in here, different options. Of course, a wireless phone charger in the front, different USB-C. There's 28 speakers in here. So, and then the third row, really fast. Let me see if I can make this work. There's a button on the side of the seat, and I don't think you have to hold it. You can click it once, and the seat will come forward. There you go, kind of revealing the entry into the third row. And since this is TFL, of course I'll get back here. Oh, I can have some grapes. Look at this, Cole. I could reach back and have some grapes. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna eat that right now. Look, I have a little bit of headroom. There's 3 across. That's the beauty of an American style 3-row full-size SUV. This is not a penalty box. Look, oh, I can't recline too much. There's a basket behind me. But I can recline a little. Look, my knees are not in my chest. I'm sitting fairly normally, so I can be here actually for an extended period of time. And I think if this was on, I think I might, no, I think this is not a panel. I think there's some of these have heated seats optionally as well. But you can see this is one of the more basic Navigators, and it still has all these features. And of course you can add a few more items, different color options, different wheels to some of the other models. And then you'll be in the $120,000 range with one of these puppies. And this one, if I was to judge, I don't know, I don't have the sticker with here, but I think this could be like $110,000, $105,000 for the one configured this way, including the panoramic sunroof. So this is the full lineup. Let's go outside for some final thoughts. So I think, yeah, if you need to tow something large, if you want to take up to 8 people with you, the Navigator, I mean, it's still one of the kings. It was actually on the market a little bit before the Cadillac Escalade. So Lincoln actually kind of jumped into the game. There was the original Expedition Ford. And of course the Navigator came out, I believe, in about 1998, and it still continues to this day with the same name. I think that's pretty cool. So come back, like I said, a little bit later, after about April 24th. We'll have a full driving review, including a towing demonstration, where I'll be able to show you many different features on this new Navigator. And let me know what you think. Which one would you pick? Would it be the Corsair, the Nautilus, the Aviator? I think the Aviator could be a good kind of in between. You can do a little bit of, you can have some fun, you have some power, you can tow up to 5,000 pounds. If you want to tow your big boat up to about 8,400 to 8,700 pounds, that's when you get the big Navigator, but you have to pay a lot more as well. And before we wrap up, Cole, can you come with me just really quick? Sorry, is this like an hour long? Okay, half an hour. I wanted to show you really quick the new wheel design, because these are very, very cool. Okay. By the way, that's copper sunrise color. So if you come over with me and kind of take a wide look. So these are the Black Label trucks, and you can see the grille is a little bit different. If you stay right there, there's also an LED signature that goes all the way across instead of stopping right here. So that's a one touch, and then there's some blacked out elements to this as well, and you can see a 24-inch wheel design difference between that, and the other one. And also this dark colored one. Cole, if you come with me, we can quickly look at the rear end. This is the long version. So you can kind of see the door is a little bit different design. And you can also kind of see the design of the rear end. So you can kind of see the way the designers shaped this rear end with different angles, which I think is quite interesting. It's not just a box on wheels. It actually makes it a little bit more interesting. And of course, you can kind of see how the tailgate is split right here without all the picnic items. And then you can have another view at that long wheelbase truck right there. So this is the entire Lincoln lineup all in one video. Thanks for joining me. Sorry if I rambled a little bit too much. And stay tuned for more. I promise you we're gonna watch TFL truck inside the Lincoln Navigator in the next video.